Some people look around, shake their heads, and ask why. And then there are others who look around and ask the question, why not? The first group are the wishful thinkers, and the second group are the actual doers who sometimes spend their own time and money to work on an issue just because they can and they know it's the right thing. This is Lynette Long. She's one of those people. Welcome to the show, Lynette.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
There's an organization called EVE. Who's EVE?
Eve, I love the name. Equal visibility everywhere.
And what's the mission?
It's really for women. That's the mission. From money to stamps to signs to statues, anything that recognizes historical figures or icons, equal visibility everywhere.
Why is there a need for an organization like this and for a mission like yours?
But let me start by saying the first words I heard when I had a child were, "It's a boy." It raised my status immediately, and he was entered into a privileged world. Too bad Anne Boleyn wasn't so lucky. But he wasn't going to be the next king of England, but the nurses in the nursery at the hospital were going to pick him up first if he cried and a girl cried. And when he got to school, the teachers would give him more time to answer a question because they knew he might get it right, where a girl, well, let's just cut her off. Or as a mother, I was projected to buy more toys for him and more variety of toys. And when he stepped out into the world, he would be carrying money with pictures of men and buying stamps and seeing street names. That's the world he went into, a world that said to him, yes, you can. Well, as chair of the Miami Beach Commission for Women, I decided to take a look around and say, how are we doing?
Well, my mission is I see what's not there. Other organizations rebel against what is there. How could they pass this law? How could they do this? And it always changes year to year. So I decided in 2010, how could I create a cultural shift in the whole country by recognizing the achievements of women in a very concrete way? When you talk about currency, the United States government decided to every state could put an image on the back of the quarter. Washington would still be on the front, but the back, you could have something each state. Only one state put a woman, Alabama.
Really?
Helen Keller. In Statuary Hall, there were 9 statues of women. 9, only 9.
If it affects girls all over the world, how does that affect them?
Every day you get subtle messages, insidious messages. When you take out your wallet and you're not on the money, or a street name is not named after a woman, and you see the names are always of men, and the message is, no, you can't. No, you can't. And if you go up to a little girl and you say, can you be president? You're going to have a good chance she's going to say, no, I can't.
You are credited with coining the term latchkey children. And then you, along with your husband at the time, wrote a book, a handbook for parents with that latchkey children and their working parents. Explain what that whole issue is about.
Well, I was a school principal, and I noticed all these kids had keys around their neck and on a chain, keychains. And I said, why do you have those keys and don't wear jewelry? It was a private school. I started interviewing them, and I heard their stories, and I was blown away. I interviewed hundreds of children, and then I interviewed former latchkey children, and I interviewed parents of latchkey children. So I looked at it from every angle.
So what was your conclusion?
If you leave the kids alone too long or too young, the results aren't good. If it's a short amount of time, they have a safety net nearby, and they're over age 8. There were children 6 left alone for 3 hours every day after school. They don't have the coping strategies. And if something goes wrong, it could go really wrong.
You've been living in Miami Beach for the last decade or more. What is the attraction to you that keeps you here on Miami Beach and has got you involved in the city and in trying to make it just a better place for everybody?
Well, it's a magical place. It's very small. It's a community, but yet it's a world stage. And that's unique. And you have access to everybody. I have all the commissioners' cell phones on my phone and the mayor's, and you can talk to anyone anytime and voice your opinion. And that's unique. You're visible. You're not invisible.
We're involved here in the city with curating a show of women that make a difference. What's the next step to reinforce the message?
It's going to another park in the city. The city has 42 parks. But think of a museum. You take any museum. Let's take the US Capitol. Maybe it gets 5 million visitors a year. Miami Beach gets 12 to 15 million visitors a year. Most of them end up on Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
My estimate is that outdoor exhibit is seen by 500,000 people a month walking on that ocean walk. That equals the best museums in the world.
What's in the future for Lynette Long?
That I don't know. I'm trying to work on historic markers for Florida, historical markers.
What kind of markers?
That the state puts up in honor of events or people.
So one board Sunday, I started South Point Park, and I drove back and forth on every street and counted every single street name. I wrote them all down, and I reported my findings to the City Commission. It was 2023. I think they were a little surprised to find that Barbara Capitman was the only street name I could find for women, and 19 for men. I then took the issue to the Miami Beach Commission for Women, and I said, would you guys like to take this on? You guys, wow. Anyway, they were so enthusiastic and shouting out names, let's do it, and when Maddie Bauer's name came up, I could hear the chants in my head. So we made a formal resolution to put Maddie Bauer on a street in Miami Beach. And I'm so honored that the city of Miami Beach and Miami-Dade County honored this request. Now, Maddie Bauer is known for many things, but the characteristic that got her elected was perseverance. And all the research shows perseverance is the #1 trait of success. #1. She never, ever gave up. When she was down and out, she stepped back up. And that is a characteristic to admire. But I'm also excited from the bottom of my heart that little girls can walk by and hear, yes, you can. And yes, you can be mayor and you can get things done.
Hi, I'm Mati Herrera Bauer, the mayor of Miami Beach, and I'm alive on South Beach. There you go.
It was really nice talking to you.
It's great talking to you, Stewart.
You're a great example to me because
Don't do what you love.
if life isn't fun,
Don't
what's
do it. Move on.
exactly?